Hello, this is George Hutton, and you are listening to the Mind Persuasion podcast. We continue our study of linguistic presuppositions, a subset of the Milton model, otherwise known as covert hypnosis. Our first pattern of today is called the comparative structure. This is a powerful pattern that you can use in many different ways. We'll cover two of the basic ways. First, a little bit about comparatives. These are simple adjectives with the er suffix attached to them: higher, taller, fatter, bigger, longer, etc. Or with irregular adjectives, you put more in front of them: more beautiful, more expensive, more exciting, etc. You can also join two actions using the more, or the comparative as follows: the more I eat, the fatter I get. The more I study, the smarter I get. The more I type, the more tired my fingers become. A good way to use the first comparative is to think of something you want to persuade your listener of, and then ask a question if they know anything that is better, easier, faster than your idea. The idea is exercise is the best way to lose weight. The sentence: do you know of any way that is more effective than consistent daily exercise to lose weight? If they answer no, either out loud or in their head, then they admit that exercise is the best way to lose weight. If you are a personal trainer, then you're in a great position to sell them some of your services. Even if they answer yes, either out loud or in their head, they must accept that exercise is a great way to lose weight. Otherwise, the sentence wouldn't make any sense, as they wouldn't have anything to compare their other method to. Another example: the idea equals dollar cost averaging is a great way to make money in the stock market. Do you know of anything simpler than dollar cost averaging to consistently make money in the stock market over the long term? No matter what they say, they will implicitly accept the idea that dollar cost averaging is a great way to make money in the stock market. To use the more pattern, you set it up so that the idea you are trying to convince them of naturally leads to a desirable outcome. Or you can use the more, the less to set it up so that when they accept your idea, something that is undesirable will decrease. Idea equals exercise is a great way to lose weight. The more my clients realize that exercise is the best way to lose weight, the less they have to worry about fad diets or how many calories they eat with every meal. More and more people are starting to discover that exercise is the best way to lose weight. The more our clients understand the power of dollar cost averaging, the more they are starting to really look forward to their retirement. The more our customers start to see the wealth-generating capacity of simple dollar cost averaging, the less they are worried about their future. More and more of our clients are using simple dollar cost averaging to make their financial future brighter and brighter. Now, I'm sure you're starting to realize that there aren't many methods out there that are more powerful and elegant than linguistic presuppositions to covertly persuade somebody to your way of thinking. More and more salespeople are starting to realize that the more they study these simple patterns on a daily basis, the brighter their future becomes, as more and more opportunities seem to start showing up out of nowhere. And I can't think of anything more exciting than gaining such incredible persuasive power, both socially and professionally, through studying some simple language patterns. And the more you start to realize that, the more you'll understand how much potential is all around you, just waiting for you to leverage to your benefit. Our next pattern is called change of time. These make use of something called change of time verbs and adverbs. These are very powerful because they can be used to conversationally invoke the power of time distortion. This is a powerful hypnotic technique. To get how powerful this is, think of something you've purchased, something that you are very happy with but were a bit reluctant to plop down your credit card or sign on the dotted line. But then something happened when you took whatever it was into your possession. You started thinking about all the cool ways you could enjoy whatever it was you just bought. There was a quick mental shift from worry to excitement. When you use time distortion, you can create this mental shift rather easily. If you've ever undergone hypnosis for some personal change work, they sometimes do something called future pacing, which we mentioned earlier. You imagine yourself out in the future with your problem solved and imagine how much better life is. You can then take those positive feelings from a hallucinated future and bring them back into the present to help create the change you're after. Kind of like the Planet of the Apes series of movies. The talking apes came back to the present from the future and left a talking ape baby who started the whole race of talking apes. There was no future without the present, but then there was no present without the visit from the future. When you use time distortion, you can bring back good feelings from the future on the other side of whatever obstacle you are facing, back into the present to create the future that you just imagined. You can use this conversationally with words like begin, stop, end, continue, start, proceed, already, yet, still. For example, when I want to convince somebody that exercise is the best way to lose weight, I can say something like the following. Once you realize that exercise is the best way to lose weight, you will continue to enjoy many other benefits such as better sleep, higher self-esteem, and even better posture. Many people have already discovered that exercise is the best way to lose weight, and they are continuing to reap the benefits. When you start to exercise on a daily basis, you will continue to be surprised at just what an effective method it is to lose weight. Similarly, with dollar cost averaging being a good way to make money in the stock market. When you start a dollar cost averaging program with our firm, you'll begin to understand, as so many others have already done, that this is without question the best way to consistently make money in the stock market. Despite the many people that have already grown their account through simple dollar cost averaging, there are still people who haven't yet discovered this powerful investment strategy. Now, I'm not sure what your exact plans are for persuasion. Maybe you've already decided how you are going to use these powerful patterns. Or maybe you are beginning to understand that this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as how versatile and powerful these patterns can become for you. Whatever you decide to use these for, you will continue to amaze yourself with just how skillfully you already know how to use them. In fact, you've perhaps already begun to notice yourself using these patterns in more and more amazing ways. Our next pattern is called change of state. This is very similar to change of time and place verbs and adverbs. These trigger an unconscious time distortion, and changing state is linked to changing time. It takes time to move from hungry to sated, from sad to happy, and from being in utter and hopeless poverty to being filthy rich. When you elicit feelings of these states and state changes in the minds of your listener through conversationally delivered linguistic presuppositions, they will necessarily go through time distortion as they imagine themselves in the before and after states. Change of state words include change, transform, turn into, become, etc. One way to use them is by setting up your phrase so that the idea you are persuading your listener to believe will lead to a positive state change. For example, exercise is the best way to lose weight. When you transform your body through simple weight loss, you will also sleep better, gain incredible self-esteem and self-confidence, as well as attract increased attention from the opposite sex. What is likely the simplest way to change your body is by doing simple exercises on a daily basis. People that have started even the simplest exercise program have already noticed after only a short time how dramatically it is transforming not only their bodies but their self-esteem and self-confidence as well. More and more people are transforming their once barren bank accounts into comfortable nest eggs through the simple process of dollar cost averaging. You will easily become convinced how simple dollar cost averaging works when you start to see how quickly your account builds wealth on a regular basis. Many people have transformed themselves into leading salespeople virtually overnight with the simple application of linguistic presuppositions. An interesting side benefit of learning these language patterns is that you will become somebody that is not only a great persuader, but somebody who is impossible to manipulate, as you will see these patterns being used both for altruistic and selfish purposes. When you think of the future having used these patterns for social, economic, and personal benefit, in how many unexpected ways have you become powerfully transformed? Many have naturally turned into powerfully effective communicators and have noticed opportunities where none previously existed. Our next pattern is called factive verbs and adverbs. These are called factive verbs and adverbs, sometimes adjectives, simply because the way these verbs are used presuppose the factual existence of their objects. Before we dive into that, a little grammar. A well-formed sentence in English must contain a verb. Verbs are either transitive, meaning they require an object or a thing, or they are intransitive, meaning they don't require an object or a thing. Many verbs can be both, that is, they can be used with or without a noun. Like the sentence, I'm eating, is fine without a noun, but you can also say, I'm eating a sandwich. Factive verbs that require a noun presuppose the existence of that noun in a very powerful way. These are verbs like know, realize, understand, regret, or believe. I believe in goodness, for example, presupposes something called goodness exists. I regret not waking up earlier this morning presupposes that I slept late. To use these to persuade, let's look at some examples. Exercise is the best way to lose weight. I regret not realizing that exercise is the best way to lose weight because I spent so much money on fad diets. When you understand that exercise is the best way to lose weight, you'll be happy to know that you can sleep better at night. Many people have known for a long time that exercise is the best way to lose weight, so why don't you give it a try? Once I realized that dollar cost averaging was the best way to make money in the stock market, I was able to sit back and relax as I watched my account grow all by itself, since everything was completely automated. After I understood the power of dollar cost averaging to make money consistently in the stock market, I actually saved money by canceling my subscription to all those market advice newsletters. It is very hard to defend against these patterns as the mind is usually busy focusing on the positive outcomes of the situation and the story of how the speaker got there rather than the thing that they realized. That little thing or idea that they realized or understood seems to be incidental to the story when in reality the thing is the idea that the speaker or writer is persuading the reader or listener to believe. This is a fantastic verbal sleight of hand, but be careful. This is so powerful that you can easily use it to get people to believe things that aren't true. For example, this exact pattern was used by then President Bush in the State of the Union address. This is what he said. British intelligence has learned that Saddam Hussein has begun seeking weapons of mass destruction. Third-party authority plus factive verb, learned, plus change of state, begun, plus idea. The idea that Saddam Hussein was seeking weapons of mass destruction slipped right on through. When you begin to realize that these patterns are powerful for not only persuading others to believe more empowering, life-enhancing thoughts, but they will also help you recognize the attempted deceptions and manipulations of others. You can start to imagine and discover for yourself all the wonderful things you can do with them to vastly improve your life and all of your social relationships. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. I'm George Hutton, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.